I've made over 7 figures wholesaling real estate, and I'd say 90% of the deals in the first year happen because of my cold calling skills. Today, I'm gonna give you the exact script that is responsible for millions in wholesale fees. But more importantly, I'm gonna break down the psychology behind why this script works and how you can use it in any situation. Whether you're making your first cold call or you've been calling for years but you just want to improve your results, this video will change how you approach these conversations. Let's get it. Before I give you the script, let me explain to you why most cold calling scripts don't work. Number 1, they sound robotic and scripted. Number 2, they focus on what you want instead of the seller's problems. Number 3, they try to close on the first call. And lastly, they don't build genuine rapport. My script is different because it is built around human psychology, not sales tactics. The goal isn't to sell anything, it's about having a genuine conversation about their situation. Now here's my exact script broken down section by section. This is the opening. Hey John? Hey John, this is Cam. I know this is a little random, but I was just giving you a call about that property on 123 Main Street. Yeah, just wanted to see if there was any interest to sell that in the near future. Now, why this works. You're using their name immediately. It builds a little bit of a connection. It acknowledges that the call is a little random. It disarms defensiveness. It states the purpose clearly. There's no confusion. You're asking a simple yes or no question, which is very easy to respond to. And lastly, there's a more curious tone to it rather than you sounding demanding, so there's a softer approach. Now, if they say yes, maybe, or possibly, this is what I say. Okay, cool. Just kind of curious. What has he even thinking about wanting to sell this one? Now, why this works. Using the word like cool keeps it a little bit more casual and conversational. The open-ended question gets them talking. It's focusing on their motivation, not your agenda. And lastly, you use phrases like start thinking, which implies that it's been on their mind. Now, if they say no, I'm not interested in selling, there's always 2 questions that I like to ask. Here is the first question. Okay, no worries. Now, is that no now or just no never? The reason why I ask that is because you never know if they might just be saying no in the moment, but they might be willing to sell in a month from now. Now, regardless of whatever their answer is to that question, I always also like to ask, do you possibly have any other properties that you may consider selling now or in the near future? This works because it opens the door to future conversations. You never know if they might have another deal. I've gotten so many deals done from asking that last question. Now, once they start talking, this is how you keep the conversation going. It comes down to active listening and a little bit of mirroring. And all that really is just repeating back to what they told you already. So if I understand correctly, the tenants haven't been paying rent consistently. You also want to ask follow-up questions and probe at their motivation. How long has that been going on? Man, that sounds really frustrating to have to deal with. The reason why this works is because people want to feel heard and understood. Repeating back shows that you're actually listening. Follow-up questions keep them talking, and empathy builds trust and connection. Now, I can't stress it enough. Probing questions are super freaking important. When it comes down to motivation, you're only gonna identify the tip of the iceberg when you first get into this. But as you keep probing and asking more questions about the situation, the rest of the iceberg is gonna reveal itself. How long have you owned the property? Do you live nearby, or do you have to manage this from a distance? What might happen if you have to hold on to this for another year? You seem like you've been doing this for a while, Mr. Seller. I'm sure you've already considered how much money you might lose if you hold on to this for another year. What number is that? Asking these types of questions helps you identify real pain points without feeling like you're being invasive to their situation. And once you get really good at asking probing questions, you can start to ask problem-inducing questions, the downsides of what will happen if they don't make a decision. And that, my friend, is how you build urgency. Keep in mind, these sellers that we're dealing with, these homeowners, are professional procrastinators. They have a problem on their hands that they've been pushing off for months, if not years. They've never sat down and weighed out the pros and cons of holding on to this property. That is why it is your job to ask these questions to create that urgency, build that trust, and get the freaking deal. Now, obviously, every single conversation isn't going to be smooth sailing, so let's get into some of the objections that you're going to come across. The 2 biggest objections is, how did you get my number and what is your offer? Let's get into it. Mr. Cameron, how did you get my phone number? So yes, Mr. Seller, whenever I find a house that I'm possibly interested in buying, I usually just go to this website to find the phone number to the homeowner. Now, is selling something that you might consider? The reason why this works is because honesty is the best policy. What we're doing is not illegal. We got the phone number from an online service, and you can even give them the website. Another reason why this works is that it redirects them to the main question. Do you want to sell? All right, Cameron, I get these calls all the time. What's your offer? You know, Mr. Seller, that's a really good question. However, with little to no information on this property itself, it's hard to come up with a random price, and every situation is different. So would you be able to tell me a little bit about the condition of this property? The reason why this works is because it doesn't give a number right away without any information. It shows that you're professional and thorough. It redirects to fact finding. And lastly, it implies that their offer will be customized to their situation. Now let's get into the qualification qualification process. This is where most people mess up. You need to get the information without making it feel like it's an interrogation. Now, when it comes to asking questions about the property, you don't need to get super granular. I really want you to focus on the bigger ticket items and ask them questions to keep them talking. When was the last time the bigger ticket items in the house have been upgraded, like the electrical, the plumbing, the HVAC, or the roof in the house? When was the last time any major repairs were made? And you can even keep it broad by saying, what is the overall condition of the property like? Keep in mind, asking a bunch of questions about the condition of the property is not what is going to get you the deal. Asking more questions about the motivation is what will get you the deal. Let's get into those. What makes you feel that selling this property is the right thing to do right now? Is there anything specific you were looking to accomplish? What would need to happen to make this all make sense for you? This works because it gets the real motivation. It focuses on their goals, not your needs. And there's nothing more powerful than that last question because it gets them to tell you their criteria. Now, once you get through all of that within the conversation, you need to start setting up next steps with the seller. You never want to try to close a deal on the first call. Instead, focus on the next conversation, getting to that next conversation. Now, before you do transition into setting up that next call, you need to ask them these 4 questions that cover the deal killers. The first deal killer question is timeline. Mr. Seller, how soon are you looking to get this property off your hands? If they say anything past 60 to 90 days, you know that you need to be following up with them within the next few weeks or so. Deal killer question number 2. Mr. Seller, is there anybody that you need to discuss selling first before you can actually sell this one? There's nothing worse than making an offer and then the seller says that they got to go talk to their wife. If there are any other decision makers, you want to make sure that you make the offer with all of them around. Deal killer question number 3. Mr. Seller, is there anything that you first need to figure out before you can actually sell this? Again, there's nothing worse than you making an offer and then the seller tells you that they got a bunch of other stuff that they need to figure out first. Going to a wedding in Punta Cana or making sure their tenants have somewhere to go. That all needs to get figured out before you make an offer. And the last deal killer question is just asking about price. Mr. Seller, just curious, what are you looking to get for this property? If they're asking $1 million for a $200,000 house, clearly that is going to kill the deal and you're not going to get it closed. Now, once you get through all of that, this is when you can now transition into setting up that next call. Okay, Mr. Seller, based on everything that you're telling me, it sounds like this might be a good fit. I kind of want to just crunch out some numbers and see what it is that I can come up for you. I can give you a call back around 4 or 5 o'clock, and I pretty much just want to take 5 to 10 minutes of your time, let you know what it's like to work with us, and let you know what the property can qualify for. The reason why this works is because you are setting the stage for the next call. There's nothing worse than trying to call out to a seller to make an offer, and they're going ghost. And the reason why that happens is because they don't know what that call is going to be about, and so on and so forth. So you want to be able to set the stage, let them know how much time you're going to take of theirs on the next call, what you guys are going to talk about, and what the end result of that call is going to be. That is what will make sure you never get ghosted from a seller again. Now, if you want to see how we're helping other wholesalers master cold calling and close out their first deals, I want you to check out my Inner Circle program. We just had 2 of our students, Gabe and Charlie, close on a $380,000 wholesale deal, meaning they took home over $300,000 in profit. So if you want to learn how to make a full-time income with just a few deals, check out the description below. I will see you in the next video. I love you guys.